What is Ahmed Timol's family's position on the recent inquest into his death? Why has the family always maintained that Timol was pushed out of John Foster Square? Will there be any consequences for witnesses who may be found to have lied under oath? And did the Truth and Reconciliation Commission fully uncover the atrocities of the apartheid era? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Paul Tsedu. Submissions by witnesses at the inquest into the death of SACP cadre and anti-apartheid activist Ahmed Timol were closed last week. The hearings revealed a lot about the circumstances under which Timol lost his life in 1971. A teacher at the time, he was snatched by police at a roadblock in October 1971 and was detained at the then notorious John Foster Square. Timol was reported to have been the 22nd political detainee to die in detention since 1960. It is perhaps testimony by Police Sergeant Joao Rodriguez, though, that has become a bone of contention. He claimed to have been in a room with Timol when he suddenly leapt to his death from the 10th floor of the prison now known as Johannesburg Central Police Station. His version is similar to that of the apartheid authorities, who claimed that Timol committed suicide while in police custody. The inquest has put the TRC under scrutiny. Latest reports indicate that many victims of the apartheid era atrocities are yet to be compensated. We are live. Therefore, you can call us, air your views. The number to dial 089-110-4210. Our international number +2789-110-4210. Tweet us your comments. Our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24. My guest today, Imtiaz Kaji, is Ahmed Timol's nephew, and Dr. Mashri Jobson. She's the National Director for Kulumani Support Group. And indeed, we welcome those calls and tweets. So whatever it is that you want to contribute to the program, we would be more than glad to take your call or read your tweet. Let me welcome you both. It took a lot from the family side to really have this inquest reopened and subject your family's private affairs to the public.
Yes, Paul. I mean, the family's waited more than 46 years for this particular day. But unfortunately, my maternal grandparents, Ahmed Timol's mother and father, have both passed on, died as broken people. But we have taken the responsibility to ensure that we get the apartheid inquest findings reversed. Because it's important for us to restore my uncle's honor and dignity, and for us not to forget the atrocities of the apartheid regime.
Now, well, I would suppose the intention was for the truth to be known, because you've always maintained, and I mean, many other quarters have always maintained that the Nationalist Party government lied to the world.
No, most certainly. We can't forget that the first political detainee died in 1963, who was Lux Martin Luli, who was given a pauper's funeral, and his body was only exhumed in the mid-2000s by the NPA. And my uncle was already the 22nd person to have died in police custody, and many, many others were to follow. It's very evident that this was the modus operandi of the security branch at the time. And as we heard the testimony of former security branch officer Paul Erasmus,
yes,
who stated that there was collusion between the security branch, the judiciary, the magistrates. We, as the oppressed people in the country, had always known this. And it's unfortunate that still many, many years later, obviously we accept the fact that the matter is sub judice. Obviously we eagerly await judgment by Judge Billy Motley. But from a family perspective, we've always known, and many other families have known, that political detainees were taken into the custody of security branch officers, and they were returned brutally murdered, many of them.
What shocked you most out of this inquest?
Umpo, I composed myself, specifically on the pathologist reports, because I'd always seen the pictures of my uncle's body lying in the Hillbrow mortuary. It was painful to listen, obviously, to the extent of torture and bruises on my uncle's body. But I dealt with that. But the difficulty I really had was sitting in a democratic South Africa, watching João Rodrigues, Neville Else, Seth's sons. Obviously, it's a constitutional right. Standing in front of a democratic South Africa and expecting us to believe that they had no idea of any torture of political detainees. Sons and Else had offices on the 9th floor of the notorious John Foster Square police station. The 9th and 10th floors were exclusive for security branch. Not even uniform security branch officers had access to those floors.
Yeah.
But they had never heard, they had never seen, and only read in the media.
Yeah. I think I'm going to ask that we go for a quick break. were given earlier, it hit home in one way or the other. And I guess as a nation, there's quite a lot of healing that needs to happen if somebody like me at my age, 44-year-old, having grown up under apartheid circumstances and had thought that I have overcome all the memories and emotions of tortures of family members, my parents, or my father in particular, and having grown up under those circumstances of security, police harassment, having had to listen to what the family of Ahmed Timol went through and were describing. It just overwhelmed me, and I really apologize in that regard. We'll be taking your calls, 0891104210. If you're outside the borders, plus 278911042110. Our Twitter handle at question time 24. Marjorie, there's an issue with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, whether was it helpful for the majority of South Africans, if I'm sure it really hit the pockets of the Timols to have this inquest reopened.
Paul, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was an essential part of our journey, but it was only the beginning, as we've seen with the Timol inquest. And we pray that this is going to be the opening of the doors for full disclosure of truth in so many, many other cases. I mean, the next one that's been on hold, which is now being called the betrayal of the betrayal, is the halting of Nokutula's case, with her mother getting very, very old and desperately hanging in there to find her daughter's body. So, but there are many cases. I was a doctor with Neil Agate at Baragwanath, and we hope that Neil Agate's inquest is going to be reopened. I mean, there's people who are coming forward now demanding that this process that has been stalled for too long has to now go ahead, and I'm very grateful for that.
Okay. Let's take Sina. Sina, you are in Mamelodi. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, Marut.
Hi, Atim Marna.
Kekay.
Kokhozo lagay.
Kokhozo. Ngay. Kenna ke lebella. Ke a thoma le go tsena le gore ke phone ke bone seemo sa gago. Ke re amorena modimo be le wena go tise mahlokong a otla a otlang ko ona Marut. Ke section ke nyaka go se bolela fela mo wena.
No, re lebogile Marna, I be khotso. Thank you very much there. Well, Sina just saying, well, she's wishing, I guess, people like me the best, and prayers who have gone through quite difficult moments of their, in their lives. And I mean, as a young child, you can imagine what happens to you, and some of these emotions, I guess, we take for granted, but yeah, they live in us for as long as you live as a person. What do you want as a family out of this case now?
It's very simple, Mpo. I mean, the family never believed the findings of Magistrate de Villiers in 1972, who stated that it was ludicrous that Ahmed Timol would be killed in police custody, and categorically stated that he had committed suicide. And as a family, we had never believed that since inception. So the simple request from the Timol family is that from an impartial judge to look at all the circumstantial evidence over 46 years later, but to overrule Magistrate de Villiers' findings. Okay. That Ahmed Timol did not commit suicide, but rather he was killed in police custody.
Wise man, UNP, welcome.
Good evening, Paul, and good evening to your guest, man.
And goes Wise.
Sure, Paul.
Sure.
Firstly, apology accepted, man. I understand. Look, Paul, you know what is happening in South Africa. We are forced, man, to move forward without engaging or what happened here in studio is because of we are forced that no, if we talk about the the past. We don't want to move forward. You understand? That is why we will never heal, Mpo. We will never heal until we engage what happened to our families, or we are not told that, no, we bring in the past back, or we are racist, all those stuff. We don't want to see South Africa go forward. That is why we're going to feel like this every time, even tomorrow, whenever we're going to feel like this, because we are forced to forget about our past. Thank you.
And also Kulu Wiseman, they're calling us from PE. Indeed, it would appear, Major, that that's a lot, really, that wasn't said at the TRC.
There was a lot, and what we've learned is that in the amnesty hearings, people sanitized the stories and collaborated on the stories, and they were structured to secure amnesty, not based on the truth. And it was very, very rare that people broke rank and actually disclosed what really happened. And that usually only happened where there was an interpersonal connection between a family of someone who'd been basically assassinated and an offender. And somehow, with a few people, they said, I can't go along with these fabricated stories any longer. But the whole record is just riven with fabricated stories. And we can't move with fabrications, you know.
Yeah.
And I think what we find is it is young people who are wanting to solve the riddles. We have another young man whose uncle was an incredible farm school teacher who stored all the records from the underground in Soweto, who was found lynched because people who kept documentation were particularly targeted. And that young man has pursued, hasn't got anywhere near where the Timol family have got. But we can't go on like this with all these secrets and lies, actually.
Nathan, you're in Swellendam. Welcome.
Hi, Umpo. How are you?
I'm well, Nathan.
Umpo, we accept your apology, but you are just woman, and the things that happened in the past is very hard, you know. We all come from that stage of apartheid. But what I want to say is that the people that was now in court, if Timol want to plea suicide, he will do it long time ago. Why should he jump from the 10th floor? But the people that still come to the court and give evidence about all these things, they are still lying because they are still bound to apartheid, you know. They are just, there's no apartheid on their face, but in their hearts, they are still pure apartheid. But I wish the Timol family all the best, and I hope the truth will come out at the end. Thank you, Umpo.
Nathan, thanks very much for the call. And I think what's disturbing a lot is seeing the defense of the improbable still being pursued even today, when people still want to say, look, Ahmed Timol committed suicide, when all evidence leads to something else. We know the times at which he was detained, and likelihoods are he never committed suicide.
And we should not forget, Umpo, he was the 22nd political detainee in 1971.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were optimistic and hoping that the police officers that would come and testify would finally see the light. And they expect us to believe their versions of events. And I think in their mind, they think we're still living in 1972. But I think it's because, you know, we are very forgiving people.
Yeah.
And we've repressed our very painful memories for many, many years. And I think this particular reopening of the inquest and their testimonies reignites a lot of anger and a lot of pain, because this was the perfect platform, Umpo, for them to have confessed. Because there's no doubt about it that this entire inquest was a farce and a cover-up, as Advocate George Bezos, senior counsel, had stated.
Let's go to Etinaga, euthanasia. Is it Shelley?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Shelley, welcome.
Hi, I just want to pass my condolences on to their family, but I can tell you now, the man didn't commit suicide. We all know that. The whole country knows that.
Yeah.
The past, unfortunately, that's why they were called the Nazis. They were the Nazis. And many, many people died. I don't know that for a fact, but I mean all of us. We surmise, but the truth be told, obviously, a lot of people died, and I'm just so sorry for the past. Just my deepest condolences to all the families. We lived in a time of terrible, terrible killings.
Yes.
And God will judge. No matter what, I promise you, God will judge those. Their life will never be the same after death. And I'm just so sorry for the families. Thanks so much.
Okay, Shirley, thank you very much for the call. But now, what happens to families who may not have the time and resources which the Timols have?
Yeah, there are so many of those families, and there is this absolute longing for a program of solving these cases, which really should be state funded, and there should be dedicated units doing it. We're talking about some of the ways forward that that we need based on what it's taken to work on the Timol case. So the sense is there's been an enormous amount of protection of perpetrators. Most perpetrators were advised by one defense lawyer who told them, this is too terrible a crime, you will never get amnesty. So they've all kept the secrets to themselves. I think probably these guys who couldn't come forth with the truth. But in fact, the truth is the only way that they will get relief as well, Otherwise, people commit suicide and they take their secrets to the grave.
But should we then have a Nuremberg type of a trial?
Paul, some of the people involved in the amnesty hearings of the Truth Commission say we should never have offered this conditional amnesty because it produced so little truth. And other commissioners and staff of the TRC said, well, isn't a partial truth better than no truth? So it's all these different perspectives, but when we speak to the minister, we want full public disclosure, no more secrets.
Do you want a Nuremberg?
Very tempted, Umpo, especially after witnessing the 3 security branch officers remaining to their positions of 1972. But look, as a country, we need to move forward. And I think it's important for us that when we use these particular inquests and revisit our tragic past, it's not to incite racial tension. That's never the intention. But we should use it as an instrument to motivate us to ensure that we do the right things today. So that the legacies of the Timols, the Steve Bantu Bikos, the Agats, Imam Harun, and all the other fallen cadres not be in vain. That political leaders take responsibility when they're executing their duties in a democratic South Africa, and not forgetting that it was because of sacrifices of thousands of innocent, young individual men and women through the length and breadth of this country, who will never be recognized, that they are in a position of power. So that should serve as a stimulation to ensure that they make the right political decisions, that they continue the struggle, no longer in the trenches, but the struggle continues in the corridors of power, and for the benefit of the majority of people of this country.
Well, we have run out of time, but thank you very, very much for making time to come and talk to us about this very, very sensitive issue. And well, I also come from that era where, as young black kids, we saw too much too soon in our lives. But that was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show from me and the entire crew. I am